This one starts on a Sunday. You are at the lake. Not the ocean, not some dramatic cliffside coastline, a lake. The kind families go to on weekends, the kind with a rope swing and a parking lot that smells like sunscreen. You have been here before. You know this lake. You swam in it last summer. You are not a bad swimmer. You are not reckless. You have never had a problem in water before. You jump in from the dock. The water is colder than expected, significantly colder than the air temperature suggested it would be. Your body registers this immediately. You push the thought aside. You start swimming toward the floating dock about 40 meters out. You have done this exact swim before. 40 meters is nothing. You are 12 meters from shore when something changes. Not dramatically. Not like the movies. No sudden cramp. No undertow. No 1 in a million freak occurrence. Just, your arms are heavier than they should be at this distance. Your breathing is slightly off. You swallowed a mouthful of water somewhere in the last few strokes, and your body is still deciding what to do about that. You turn around and head for shore. It is farther away than you remembered. Funny how distances develop confidence when you are tired. You keep swimming. You are a competent adult who has handled harder things than 40 meters of fresh water. This is fine. You are fine. You swim harder. Your body, meanwhile, has already started doing things you have not been consulted about. Oh, hey. Let us stop time here. You are 12 meters from shore, arms heavier than expected, swimming back. Your body has activated one of the oldest survival mechanisms on Earth. You, meanwhile, are still convinced this is a fitness problem. The lake is 14 degrees Celsius. Your skin temperature is approximately 32 degrees. The difference between those two numbers is the difference between a swim and a survival situation. And most people never learn which one they are in until they are already in the second category. When your skin contacts water that cold, your body triggers cold shock response. It happens in the first 30 seconds. It is automatic. It is not something you can override with mental toughness or the fact that you did a triathlon 3 years ago. Your blood vessels constrict immediately. Your heart rate spikes. Your blood pressure spikes. And then, this is the part that kills people, you involuntarily gasp. Not a metaphorical gasp, a physical, uncontrolled inhalation that happens whether or not your face is underwater at that moment. If your face is underwater when the cold shock gasp happens, you inhale water directly into your lungs. You do not choose to. You do not have an option. Your brain stem triggered the gasp before your conscious mind had any say in the matter. This is why cold water drownings kill experienced swimmers within the first minute. Not from hypothermia, not from exhaustion, from an involuntary gasp that filled their lungs with water before they knew what was happening. You were lucky. Your face was above water when the gasp hit. You are still swimming. But your body has begun prioritizing. Without consulting you, your circulatory system has started rationing blood flow. Your arms are getting less. Your legs are getting less. The muscles you are currently depending on to get you back to shore are operating on reduced supply because your body has decided that your core organs are more important than your continued forward momentum. Your body is correct. Your body is also making it significantly harder to swim. This is called swimming failure. It is not a skill failure. It is not a mental failure. It is a physiological event that occurs when cold water reduces the muscle temperature in your arms and legs to the point where they can no longer generate effective propulsion. Olympic swimmers experience swimming failure in cold water. The temperature does not care about your credentials. At the same time, you are hyperventilating. Not obviously, just breathing faster than your exertion justifies. This feels like being out of shape. What it actually is your CO2 levels dropping, and dropping CO2 triggers panic. Not emotional panic, neurological panic. a hardwired brainstem response that produces the subjective experience of terror regardless of what your rational mind thinks about the situation. You are not scared because you have assessed the situation and found it dangerous. You are scared because your blood chemistry changed and your brainstem filed an emergency report. You have been in the water for 90 seconds. You are still 12 meters from shore. Your arms are not working. You are panicking for biochemical reasons you cannot identify, and the shore is still farther away than you remembered. Now your brain is about to start lying to you, and the lies are going to feel like clarity. Your brain has one job above everything else: keep the brain alive. It will sacrifice every other system to accomplish this, and right now, with your arms failing and your breathing wrong, your brain is making decisions. The first decision it makes is to stop telling you how bad things are. This is not a kindness, it is a survival calculation. Panic burns energy. Energy is now a resource your body is rationing. So your brain dials down the alarm signals. The terror that was spiking 30 seconds ago starts to flatten. You feel not calm exactly, but less frantic. Clearer, like you have found a second wind. You have not found a second wind. Your brain has reduced the fidelity of the information it is sending you because accurate information was making you burn resources faster. You think, I just need to float for a moment and catch my breath. You think, I am almost there. You think, I have handled worse than this. None of these thoughts are accurate. All of them feel completely true. You float on your back. You feel the clarity that is not clarity. You try swimming again. Your arms do approximately nothing useful. This is where the instinctive drowning response begins. And this is the part that kills the people watching from the shore. Your body has abandoned the goal of swimming. It has a new goal. Get your airway above water long enough to breathe. That is the only instruction your brainstem is running. To do this, your arms press down on the water surface, not waving, not reaching, pressing down, trying to use the water as a platform to push your body upright. Your head tilts back. Your mouth opens and closes at the waterline, grabbing air in the brief moments it clears the surface. From the shore, you look like you are treading water. You look like you are resting. You look like someone who decided to float for a moment before swimming back in. You cannot speak. The instinctive drowning response overrides speech because speech requires exhaling in a controlled way, and your body is not doing controlled anything right now. Every exhale is being used to prevent inhaling water. There is no spare airway for words. You cannot wave. Your arms are occupied with the one task your brainstem has assigned them. You are drowning in full view of people who have no idea you are drowning. This continues for 20 to 60 seconds. This is the entire window. 20 to 60 seconds during which you look fine, cannot communicate that you are not fine, and cannot perform any of the actions that would make it obvious you need help. And then you go under. The first breath underwater is involuntary. Your body held out as long as it could. Then the CO2 reached the threshold the brainstem cannot ignore, and the diaphragm contracted and you inhaled. Water enters your lungs. The sensation is described by people resuscitated from this point as burning. Cold water entering airways designed for air produces a searing sensation that is the last clear sensory experience most drowning victims have. Your body responds with laryngospasm. The vocal cords slam shut to prevent more water entering. Your airway is now closed from both directions. Water cannot get further in. Air cannot get in either. Your lungs have water in them and the door is locked. Oxygen saturation drops immediately. The brain consumes 20% of your body's oxygen. It has almost no reserves. Neurons begin failing within 4 minutes. The lights go out the way they always go out in these situations. Not suddenly, not like a switch. More like a dimmer being turned down by someone who does not know you are still in the room. So what does this feel like from your side? The cold hits first. Before anything else goes wrong, the water feels like being grabbed. Not painful. More like being held down by something with no hands. The hyperventilation phase feels like being out of shape. You apply effort because breathlessness feels like a fitness problem. The effort accelerates the hyperventilation. The hyperventilation drops CO2 faster. The CO2 drop triggers more panic. The panic burns more energy. The energy depletion accelerates the swimming failure. You do not know any of this is happening. You just feel breathless and slightly scared and convinced you can handle it. The swimming failure is the strangest part. Your arms stop working not because they hurt, but because the signal between intent and action gets lost. You think swim harder, and your arms produce something technically resembling swimming, but achieving very little. It feels like trying to run in a dream. The mechanics are right. The result is wrong. The moment you go under is almost gentle. Survivors describe the underwater experience consistently: the burning of the first involuntary breath, then a spreading heaviness, then something closer to the way a loud room sounds when someone finally closes the door. A reduction, and then nothing. Nobody was ignoring you. Nobody saw. The people who jumped in after you did not know any of this. They jumped in because you went under, and they were not willing to stand there. They got to you in 4 minutes. You were unconscious. You were not dead. Not yet. You wake up on the dock. Someone's jacket is under your head. The sky is very bright. You swam to the floating dock, you think. You made it. You did not make it to the floating dock. You went under 8 meters from shore. You were underwater for 4 minutes. You do not remember any of this. You remember jumping in. You remember the cold. You remember thinking the shore was farther than it should have been. And then nothing. Until now. You almost drowned on a Sunday afternoon at a lake you have been to before, in water so calm it looked like glass. You did not wave for help. You did not call out. Nobody saw you drowning. They only saw you go under. Check the water temperature before you jump in. 40 meters is not nothing. Over and out. Subscribe if you want more of this.